Now, what an exciting moment. We are, of course, celebrating the matric class of 2025. A total combined number of 17,413 of both permanent and part-time candidates sat for the Independent Examination Board matric, and the results of that 2025 Senior Certificate National Examination achieving an overall pass rate of 98.31%. How fabulous is that? Now, the Gauteng Province also had the highest national number of more than 10,000 candidates compared to the North Cape's lowest number, that is 115 candidates who wrote their 2025 IEB Matric Exams. But this morning, we're joined by 4 of the IEB's class of 2025 who will receive their individual results later today. So I'm joined here in studio by Chrisovalandis Coundouris from SAHETI School. We have Neesa Ajoodha from Brescia House, and we also have Siza Gule from St. John's and Khumo Mochela from St. Mary's. And they are, of course, some of our top achievers. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning and congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Listen, how are you all feeling? Let's start there. Let's just gauge the temperature first and foremost, because you still haven't seen your individual results, but here you are. We know you've done fantastically well. So how's it feeling, Valandis?
It's a bit nerve-wracking to be on live TV before knowing your final results. I mean, I don't know what's more nerve-wracking, being on TV for the first time or not knowing your results yet and having to predict them.
But you know you did well.
Oh, I hope so.
Oh, well, you're here, so there must be something to it. Neesa?
Very nerve-wracking. I think it's 2 really jarring things, like the end of high school and being on TV. It's hard to wrap your head around.
Oh, but this is the easy part, considering, Siza, what you guys have gone through. This is easy. This is a walk in the park.
No, I wouldn't consider it like easy in that sense, but it's definitely, I guess, nice to sort of be in the sort of space where we're being celebrated even before we're like even seeing our results. So in that sense, it's kind of something that I appreciate, just being here.
And of course, just as I go through it, with you guys, because I was actually saying one of the things this morning, for me at least, looking at you guys, Khumo, is you are wearing your uniforms once again. You haven't worn it in a bit. And I was asking you guys, how did it feel this morning for you to wear your uniform again?
It was definitely strange for me. I had to go down into my basement and dust off the old blazer and put it on. But, I'm forever grateful to St. Mary's, and just to wear it for the final time feels like wholesome and closure.
Yeah.
So I always say, when children are in matric, the parents are in matric, that support system is so important. Valandis, for you, who would you single out here as, having given you the best support to get you through this year?
Well, I think it would be impossible to single out a single parent, because I'm from Pretoria, and back in grade 8, I landed up getting a scholarship to go to SAHETI. And being in Pretoria and having to travel to Joburg is quite a problem, I would say. And so my parents and I had to make quite a difficult decision, and we decided that I can't forfeit this opportunity. And so back in grade 8, we traveled all the way back and forth, Joburg to Pretoria, twice a day, losing probably about 10 hours a week. Yeah. And we did that for 1 year, and then I moved in with my sister. And then we got our own place in matric, because I was so exhausted by the end of the day in the first 2 weeks. So definitely I can't single out a single person. Definitely both my 2 parents supported me all the way through.
Ah, that's fabulous. And then, you speak about exhaustion, and in a crossing earlier to Limpopo, our reporter also spoke to one of the matriculants there, who also mentioned exhaustion, and the rigors, the pressure on you. Now, let's talk about that, Neesa. Is that something that you guys put on yourself? Is it external pressure? How did you experience that?
I think it's a mix of both. I think when you become like a top achiever, there is an expectation that comes on you, even if it's well-intentioned. So like people saying, oh, I know you're going to be like top 1% for these subjects. And as much as it's like really kind and really supportive, it does add that pressure and it does add that extra layer. So I think it comes from both internal and external. But I think to get through, you rely on family and your support structure. So I think my parents and my sister definitely helped me through it.
Damn, imagine the pressure of expectation to be in the top 1%. Good look. I'm so glad that never happened to me because I certainly would have died. But then, Siza, just for you, in terms of how you approach the year, you know, your study time, you know, the techniques, you know, what would you say worked for you that could potentially work for others watching right now?
Yeah, I mean, to be entirely honest with you, I think to touch also on what Neesa had just said, a big part of like the fact that we could even like be in the space right now having the conversation is also like us having been driven in the sense that we did kind of have these big aspirations for our matric year. So I think just having that intention from the very beginning was kind of like the big driving force for me, like throughout the entire year. But then coupled with that, I definitely have to say, having a lot of hard, like dedicating yourself to your intention and like your cause is obviously like incredibly necessary. And it does take a lot of sacrifice sometimes, having to devote like many hours, as I'm pretty sure like everyone over here has done, having to do like all-nighters and stuff like that. But apart from that, definitely the support system that we've had are just incredible. Like honestly, I cannot speak enough about like all my teachers at St. John's and my family and how they've just been so supportive of me this entire time. So I definitely do think being driven, working incredibly hard and also having like a really good support system have been like my 3 key metrics to like success.
So for the class of 2026, watching you guys now, you speak of all-nighters, you speak of the exhaustion, you know, and all of that, the pressure, you know, for the top achievers. And, you know, Khumo, looking at all of that, what did you focus on? Was it, you know, memorizing or is it understanding concepts?
I think I definitely want to say understanding concepts, but when push comes to shove, as Siza was saying, you know, it does maybe come down to the occasional all-nighter. But to the class 2026, definitely just keep it consistent, you know, start early from the beginning of the year, and I'm sure all of you guys can agree. It just helps to go over your content, ask your teachers for advice or extra mentorship if needed, and definitely rely on your friends. I found asking a friend a question was my saving grace at the end of the day if I really needed help and was struggling. So, you know, use those resources that are available to you, but start memorizing from early, I would say.
Did any of you at any point feel overwhelmed?
Yeah.
Okay, why? And at what point and how did you overcome?
I think you really just need to take a time out. I think that's something I learned in Matric, that I think there's an expectation in Matric that you're going to be working 24/7 every single week and never resting. But you honestly do need to take at least half an hour a day to just... Sometimes, like, taking a nap after school was all you needed to really just reset your brain. And I think just getting into, like, a routine of resting really helps when you're feeling overwhelmed. Because I think we have routines of working, but a routine of every day I'll rest at this time for this amount of time. I think that becomes really helpful.
See, now I understand why I wasn't top 1%. Because if you're taking a half-hour break, man, that means you're on it all the time. Valandi?
So I think my biggest piece of advice, and especially what I think helped me the most, is at the beginning of the year, you need to set yourself goals, but set yourself realistic goals. And what I mean by that is, if you got 50 or 60 the previous year, grade 11, and you expect 90 at the end of the year, that's not realistic because you're missing about half the content of what you don't know. And you're going to end up putting unnecessary pressure on yourself, and that's where the feelings of disappointment start spiraling and it gets out of control. So you need to be realistic at the beginning of the year. You need to say to yourself, this is what I have in mind, and this is what I think I am capable of. If you have something else in mind that is higher, that's going to take a lot more work. It's definitely possible. It's not impossible, but it's going to be hard. So you might have to start earlier then. Maybe that is an option that you have to consider. Start going through your content before school actually starts. Maybe even start now. I remember for our block exams, we barely had any time at all to prepare for them. I think it was about 2 days, and then block exams hit, and we had, I think, about 20-something, 25 subjects or papers to prepare for. So it's definitely quite overwhelming. So maybe starting earlier is something you have to consider, but practice always makes perfect, and doing the most amount of past papers possible before an exam is definitely essential to do well.
Khumo, how do you deal with disappointment? Because now, you know, the top 1%ers, if you don't get, like, what percentages, if you don't get 98, what is it, 99?
That's aiming high.
So if you have, you know, set out a certain benchmark for yourself and you don't quite achieve that, and for us, we're looking at that and we're like, it's still fabulous, but for you personally, it's not the mark you wanted to hit. How do you deal with that disappointment?
You know, I was just thinking the value of being disappointed. You know, at the end of the day, it is a reminder that there is still work to be put in, but that you can't be too hard on yourself. I remember my prelims were a bit of a sore point for me because I was disappointed in my marks. I had put in a lot of work, but that was a reminder that I'd come a long way throughout the year, and finals were still a bit away. Well, now they're done. But, it was a good reminder that there are still goals to strive for, and at the end of the day, you know, we are sitting here as very accomplished students in our own capacities, but marks aren't everything. And I think that there's such value and importance in that sentiment that we put in a lot of time and effort into our matric, but that might not always be reflected on a mark you receive once. And we shouldn't hold ourselves to that for the rest of our lives either.
Yeah, and you know, we get some comments coming through as well. This one's from Shaba Ranks, who says, morning team, morning live and Mzansi viewers, congratulations to those who managed to write their final exams. It's a huge achievement for reaching that milestone. Those who didn't make it, there's always a second chance. Those who passed, it's the beginning of new life, so be ready. That's from Shaba Ranks. And another one here from Madisha David, who says, to the class of 2025, we are proud of each one of you. You carry the dreams of your families, your communities, and your country. And may you use this education to heal, to build, and to change South Africa and the world for the better. No matter the results, you are our hope and our future. Thank you so much for those messages. And that is the sentiment. But of course, you have your own hopes and dreams. And I want to get into that because now, your expectations moving from matric, you know, to tertiary institutions. And I want to know, what is the vision? What is the dream? And I'll start with you, Siza, because you're going to Harvard.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that. Yeah. You know, for each and every one of you, I'll ask, where are you going and what is it that you will be studying? What's the dream ultimately for you?
Yeah, so I think part of my reason as well for wanting to go to Harvard, I guess, is because they have a more multidisciplinary liberal arts sort of curriculum, and that has been quite attractive for me because I haven't been entirely sure of like one specific thing that I'm incredibly passionate about, but I did have a few things that like did speak to me like more than other things, and part of that was looking more into like the law/politics sort of space, just looking at how society is sort of governed and how we can best like optimize like social justice stuff, and just that entire sort of space of stuff has really like been a big interest of mine. And the other space of mine has also been like in the creative sense, in terms of looking at theatre and literature, and like that entire part as well has also been so mind-opening, I guess. Like my entire experience at St. John's, I definitely do owe a lot of my fulfillment and like joy to being on stage or being in an AP English class, and like that has really been like a big part of like who I am. So I definitely do think like those sort of two spaces is what I intend to do over there, and fortunately I do have the opportunity to be able to like explore that quite a bit, like do a bunch of different things at the same time. So that's like my main aspiration, I'd say.
Oh, fabulous.
Yeah.
Imagine, Ivy League. and Palani, for you, where's the journey taking you?
So the journey is taking me hopefully to Cape Town. I intend on studying either applied mathematics or actuarial science, but I think I might settle for applied mathematics. And reason being is because of one of my hobbies, actually. I manage my own stock portfolio, and I've developed quite a keen interest in markets and financial services. I mean, I interned at Investec in August last year for 3 days. Yeah, so maybe that is a company that I end up working for one day. And I've just been amazed at how mathematics can apply to the real world, particularly through markets and finance. And that is definitely an area that I'm interested in. Maybe perhaps after my honours, I might intend doing an MSc overseas in financial mathematics. And we'll see where that takes me. I'm very excited though.
Neesa?
Hopefully I go to Cape Town as well. So I want to go to UCT and do a BCom PPE, so politics, philosophy and economics, because I want to be a lecturer.
One isn't enough, yeah?
Because I really want to be a lecturer. So when I was 12, since then I've wanted to be a teacher. And so I think the idea of lecturing, the idea of getting to teach, but also getting to stay inquisitive and do research and be an academic, that's really exciting to me. So that's the goal.
Oh, fabulous. Khumo?
Well, I'm following in their footsteps. I also want to go to Cape Town and hopefully study medicine. But, you know, I'm flexible and we'll just see where these results take us.
I'll tell you what, you guys are so inspirational. We have a minute left, so I'm going to ask you like 15 seconds each, just very briefly, advice for the class of 2026. What would you say to them? What should they do? Khumo?
Never be afraid to ask for help. I know it's a bit cliched, but that is your greatest strength as, you know, people who are as privileged and who sit in our position. Our access and our ability to rely on one another, rely on our parents, our families. So never be afraid to ask for that extra bit of help.
Siza?
I would definitely say that if you would like to achieve more, you have to realize the fact that it's going to take a lot more out of you, like sacrifice-wise, putting a lot more time into perfecting your craft and your studies and all that. So be dedicated to giving more if you want more.
Neesa?
It's a marathon, not a race. Like, you have to be resting. You can't burn out at the beginning of the year. So just take care of yourself.
And Malandi?
Look for that desire that you have in yourself. Look for what drives you and what makes you hungry for success, because that carried me throughout the whole year. And if you can find that, it makes it a lot easier to do well.
Damn. That was such a feel-good session, you know. Thank you so much. That was the Independent Examination Board's class of 2025. Some of their top achievers talking to us about their high school journeys, and also they're still awaiting their individual results. That's being released later today. But of course, thank you so much to Valandi from SAHETI, Neesa from Brescia House, and then we had Siza from St. John's, as well as Khumo from St. Mary's talking to us. Thank you so much, guys, and good luck.